Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wasn't there a kindergarten song? How did that go? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can't quite recall it, but I feel it in my bones. Good morning to you, good morning. You look good. Okay. All right. I would like us to begin our time today with a toning. Just everybody pick a note and just sing that one note so that we can tune in with each other and just feel the sound gathering us together. Let's try it with some harmony. Thank you. Good morning, friends. Welcome to All Souls Unitarian. I'm Sandra Boston, and I'm going to take my mask off. Glad to see you here today. It's a place we like people to feel welcome. So if you just take a minute to turn around and wave to everybody and say hi. Welcoming to our pulpit this morning, Betsy Simmons, who's now going to be our monthly interim minister. And we're very happy to have her ministry and her presence here. We will be singing, but with our masks on. And I see everybody understands social distancing, so we don't even need to mention it. So as we gather today, I invite each one of you to just take a deep breath, to breathe deeply, come into the room, be present, be focused, be at peace. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see communion. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence here together. Let us take this time for a quiet reflection as we listen to the prelude, which Annie will share with us. Have patience. All things come together for good. Oh my God. How's everybody today? Good? Good to see you all out there, friends. You can join me, anybody who knows the song. Little John Lennon for you. We all need a tune-up sometimes, right?
See everybody turn their clocks. I was worried about that. When the night has come, land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Whoa, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon comes tumbling down, and the mountains they crumble to the sea. No, I won't shed a tear. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Whoa, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me.
Will you all join me in reading our covenant together? We covenant with one another that we build our connections on a foundation of love, hope, and faith to promote justice and peace, and to show reverence for the divine within and all around us. Betsy will now light the chalice.
Trying a new stand this morning to rise up so everybody can see me. Hear me? You hear me? Okay. Okay, the chalice, as Sandra lights the chalice, I invite people on Zoom to light a candle if you'd like, so we can feel connected in the light. And the words are in your order of service. This is an excerpt from a poem called Become, Become, Become. We light this chalice to honor us all, coming out of isolation, hiding, hurting, recovering. Coming into who we truly are is healing and celebration. We're not breaking down, we're breaking through. Breaking like the dawn. We're not falling apart, we're falling into place, claiming our emotional, sexual, social, and spiritual selves. Becoming is a lifelong process. So I created this service for the October session, and I wasn't able to be here because I wasn't feeling well, but now I am well. So I built this service on the themes of the UUA for October, which are honoring LGBTQ month, honoring Coming Out Day, and honoring Suicide Awareness Month. And you'll see how those weave together as hopefully we explore this issue. It was interesting coming up with titles for the service. Remember the old song, come out, wherever you are, in Wizard of Oz. Come out, whoever you are. And we become as we live our lives. We don't know all of who we are at birth. We create ourselves, we shift, we grow ourselves. So I chose the final title of Be, Belong, Become. And this is actually a byline of the YMCA. What it says is we welcome all sizes, colors, genders, beliefs, religions, all types of people everywhere. Welcome to the Y, you belong here. So hopefully all souls can claim that welcoming spirit and really welcome everybody on all of our spectrums, who we are now and who we are becoming. I am interested more, we all need to coexist in this world. We need to live and let live. But even beyond that, I'm hoping that we learn to honor each other, learn from each other, really celebrate each other. So I'm going to speak a little bit on my reflections of different kinds of coming out, and then we're going to hear a story from Constance, and then back to me. So as you listen to this, I just invite you into a reflective mode. This service is for all of us coming out, knowing how to trust ourselves, having the courage to come out with who we truly are, and on the other side, welcoming each other into the world, allowing all expressions to be safe and accepted. So anytime we can be on either end of the coming out or the receiving people. So often when we think of coming out, we think of gender identity and sexual orientation. So I'm going to start there. I first became connected to the LGBTQ community in the early years of AIDS, during the epidemic and beyond. I was so inspired by the community presence, the community body that came together. People were being shunned and shushed and shamed for their gender identity. And now here they were dealing with a life-threatening illness and trying to untangle that. So I just felt so inspired by their individual strength and the community presence as they were fighting for their lives. Their survival really depended on honesty, pride in their identity, and togetherness. Such love and authenticity and courage. They welcomed me as an ally and a friend, and they helped me slowly come out over the years. And I'll tell you more about that later. But if you're in any minority, marginalized in any way by society, it's hard work to come out and be accepted, be respected, get the rights that you deserve. It's really the work of the general community and the majority to make room for all of us. But does that happen? Often not. And why can't that inclusion happen on a large level? Fear, ignorance, power tripping, sometimes religious persecution, fear of conversion, fear of contagion, a lot of barriers that don't make logical sense, but that get lodged in people. So it's up to both society and people in general to find their way out and to accept each other. We've made some strides, obviously, but there's a long way to go. We're still dealing with book bans and bathroom regulations and harassment and violence against the LGBTQ community. In fact, the suicide rates, especially for young people in this community, are really high, and especially during the pandemic. So we have a lot of work to do. Coming into who we really are is maybe the most important thing. It takes time, can't be rushed or pushed. We need to wrestle our way out of traps, cages, closets, old ways of being, and even others' expectations. So as I keep speaking, just think, are you in any of these categories? Do you feel trapped in any way? Do you feel you're not seen in some ways? And I know that invisible often feels like the safest place to be. When I worked with women who were coming out of violent relationships, they often struggled between feeling invisible and feeling in the way. And that dance of trying to be seen for who they are, but not seen too much or take up too much space because they'd be violated and hurt or killed. So that is just a terrible dilemma to be in. So I understand the feeling of hiding is safe until you deem coming out is okay. And then comfortable in your own skin before you step out and find your kin, right? All kinds of kin. Coming out needs to fit our temperament and our personality, loud and proud and in the streets, in the marches and protests, or much quieter, much more tiptoeing or leaping, either way. So what does anyone care about what other people or society think of them? Well, if you're denied your rights, your safety, your dignity, your privacy, you care. If you're offended by people's questions, judgments, assumptions, you care. It's your choice to educate people or not. I know a lot of people in different minority groups feel really tired of being the educator and helping people come into the truth. And at some point you can say, figure it out, not my job to do this. But when you do have the patience and the courage, it does help people to understand where we're coming from. We all get to name ourselves, choose our pronouns, labels. We get to discern if a label helps us or hurts us, offers us belonging and comfort, or just puts us in another box. So that's all of our decision. Being overlooked is often the process of becoming undone. And there's a cost to being judged, ostracized, bullied. As we know, people suffer depression, end their own lives through suicide, relieve pain with numbing. There's a lot of pain around hiding. Toni Morrison, in her wonderful book, The Bluest Eye, writes, "Remember that the one not seen is no less than the one not seeing. The one not seen is no less than the one not seeing." The way we choose to see ourselves, name ourselves, is really more important and more in our control than how we're seen by others. The judgments by others are mostly about them, less about us, although it doesn't feel that way. When we can wean ourselves away from other people's need to be affirmed by other people and affirm ourselves and be affirmed by our community, we have a lot to gain. But I just want to honor that it takes courage and a risk-benefit analysis, really, to come out. What's to gain, what's to lose? And I believe we're doing that our whole lives. So I'm going to pause there, and I'm going to invite Constance Englert up, part of our community, to tell her story. And thank you, Constance.
Good morning. I don't need the box. Well, I wrote this, a couple different versions. We'll see if this one works. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, just beyond Berkshire County, Massachusetts, to be exact, where there be dragons, lived a young Princess Constance. This was a long, long time ago, when there was no internet, cell phones, Xerox machines, personal computers, or even more than 4 channels of TV, if you could get PBS by putting foil on the rabbit ears. It was 1981, to be exact. She lived and played in the woods, aqueduct tunnels and trees in the woodland, with the woodland fairies. One day when she was 14, she was feeling more and more confused as her body changed. She did not like these changes. She shared with a few of her friends that she just didn't feel right inside. Her friends looked at Princess Constance with confusion and asked, "But Princess, don't you have a penis?" Alas, she did. The princess and the woodland fairies continued to play in the meadows, sometimes with a frock or a pair of jeans or something else that made her feel, well, better. Her friends kept the secret from those in the kingdom. But then suddenly the king made the proclamation that we were to move to California, to a teeny tiny house with no privacy, no woods, no woodland fairies to play with. What was the princess to do? About a year later, the step queen and king found out about Princess Constance's secret. She was sent off to the school counselor person who had no idea what to say because even the word transgender was barely known in the land. The princess had to denounce her frocks, her Jordache jeans, and pledge that it was all just a phase to survive. All her clothes and her Judy Blume books and everything that made her feel herself was gone. The princess became very, very, very depressed. The years went by and she can't even remember most of her time in high school. And while she tried her best to be the best boy man beast she could, she always ended up in theater, dance, and even has 2 varsity letters as the girls' volleyball equipment manager. But alas, she went into the closet, which was a very dark place. Her sole purpose was to get out of the evil kingdom and return to whence she belonged. And she did. She went to Vassar College in upstate New York. She had more freedom, but she was terrified to be found out and sent back to the kingdom. She tried her best to be a boy man beast and started to work and progress in her career. She figured if she could keep pretending, she could find new joy. And she did sometimes. She found love, sometimes in the wrong places, but yes, and was even married. But as much as she faked it, her old feelings of shame, sadness, and remorse would come back. She was very lonely with few friends and certainly none who knew her secret, for that would very much trigger the divorce. And she loved her young daughter too much for that to happen. Sometimes her work travels allowed her a little time to be herself, but then the princess would have to bottle that back up. And that back and forth made her very sad and mad and very, very despondent. She reached out to her friend, Sleeping Beauty, for any spells or elixirs that could end her pain forever, so that Princess Constance could sleep forever and for all the sadness to leave her body and soul. Alas, her friend was, well, sleeping and unavailable to help. And with that, the princess decided that her family would have to face her truth. She returned home to Boston, went to Fenway Health, where all the doctors looked at her and agreed that she was indeed a hot mess and that the princess needed help. And she got it over a very long, hard time because shame and secrets destroy a person's soul. And her truth began to show a little bit each day. The divorce indeed happened, and contact with her daughter sadly and inexplicably ended on her behalf. And in fact, today is her birthday. After living most of her life in places like Boston, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, and New York City, Princess Constance ended up in Asheville, Massachusetts, only miles from that time long, long ago. She started a bus company of all things out of Shelburne Falls. She was living her truth and was back to play in the woods and the trees with the Franklin County and Southern Vermont Woodland Fairies, friends and loving allies. One recent spring, Princess Constance decided that her bus company would buy a charity table at the Fenway Health Women's Dinner event and be one of the first transgender table captains ever. From the Boston hotel with one of her best friends, she had her bus detour from the 6 p.m. departure with people on it from South Station to take her in her gowns to the ball in the Back Bay. Cinderella's pumpkin was no match for my motor coach. The event was her red carpet, prom, sweet 16, quinceañera, bat mitzvah, wedding, everything in one magical night. As she danced with her friends, woodland fairies, and allies that night, she discovered that her strength, her path, her joy had to do less with her, but with those who supported her in her truth. No secrets, no shame. And it was then that Queen Constance ascended to be and belong amongst all those who shared love. And then they eventually closed down the last lesbian bar, The Machine, at 4 a.m. that same night. With some weird detours on the way since, Queen Constance now lives in nearby Halifax, Vermont, with her trusty old dog, Sally, on 10 acres of woods, among the woodland fairies, the monarch butterflies, bats, and birds of all feather. And yes, there be dragons there too.
Wow. We are all so blessed by that story. And we're honored in the presence of the Queen. Woohoo! That's beautiful. Well, it's time in our service for our offertory. Every week we take up an offering, which gives us an opportunity to exercise the generosity of spirit that supports all souls and our many ministries. We see this act as growing more generous in our hearts and in our actions, as essential to our spiritual well-being. We'll now receive this morning's offering.
Hello? Now on. Lest I say how deeply that story resembled my own, only in a different kind of way. So I'm happy to bring the song. We can, if you know the words are this. Holly near, I am open. You can't, what's the matter? Okay. We'll come here. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up in the light of change. So I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up on the wings of change. There is hurting in my family. There is sorrow in my town. There is panic in our nations. There is wailing all around. But I am open, and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up on the wings of change. May our children see more clearly. May our elders be more wise. Lift us up with the changes coming, even though it burns our eyes. Give me a mighty hope to hold my confusion. Give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonders. Give me an ocean to hold my tears. Want to try it with me? I am open, I am willing, and I am willing for to be hopeless. To be hopeless seems so strange, would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, those who go before us. So lift us up in the light of change. For I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift us up on the wings of change.
Thank you so much, Annie. So, individually and together, we are building a world filled with peace, justice, love, and joy. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, talent, and treasure, helps make that grand vision real. Thank you. So I'm going to move into some other little story about my own coming out, and then into some other thoughts about other ways that we can all come out. So in a way, I feel like I've been coming out for years. I've been married to a man for 33 years. Now I'm slowly separating. And now I'm a woman open to a loving relationship with a woman. That's as much of a label as I need or want right now. I'm separating without regret. We had our time. We loved each other. Then, not now. I didn't betray my dream because I never promised or expected to be together forever. And I trust we'll be friends for life. But I seek change at this point in my life more than permanence. Shift happens. I've been out of the coupled mainstream for a while now, content and separate on my own stream. Solo in a coupled world. Feels like a pretty coupled world. That can be a challenge. I'm a solo traveler. I've learned to say, I'm not by myself, I'm with myself. Big difference. And I love meeting new people, wandering freely. I'd rather be lost than stuck, and the road is home to me. So another way I feel I'm coming out is I was born, and think for yourselves how this relates, I was born a relentless optimist. Happy, hopeful. I learned from my father, cheer up. If you're feeling low, cheer somebody else up. Work it out together, lift each other up together. Don't isolate, don't mope. I learned from my mother, remember this, chin up. Well, that served me for a long time, and often it still does. But since my parents have died, since the latest endless wars, since poverty is worse, since violence is worse, since the planet continues to burn, I don't feel so optimistic. I hope it's a phase, but it's harder to be perpetually positive. I feel a deep grief sometimes, not just for my soul, but for the world. And discouragement can grow within me, and a little despair creeps in now and then. Things I've never felt before. Bad news can really temper my sunny side. So I feel I'm disappointing other people who know me as an uplifter and a cheerball. But that's my shift right now, and I need to honor that and not pretend that I'm feeling as positive as people want me to be. Sometimes it's a disappointment to myself. I want that back. It's a good feeling to feel that positive. But for now, there's a shift. Another way, I once was a real quieter of conflict, queller of conflict. I do work in prisons, and I've done a lot of conflict and to be worked out in prison. And now I'm learning to encourage conflict up and out. There's no need to suppress it or hide it. And it's how we, if we can stick around and grapple together, it's how we make progress, both in our attitudes and in society. We learn to understand each other better and honor our diversity so that we can coexist. I tend to slide back and forth on the spectrum of comforting the disturbed and disturbing the comfortable, right? Comforting the disturbed and disturbing the comfortable. I think fluidity of all kinds is so refreshing. And I see it in young people with their gender identity. There's a lot of fluidity between masculinity, femininity, and in other ways. Think of the currents of air, emotion, electricity. It's not stagnant or a still point, it's shifting. And I think when we let our emotions and our life experience be like that, we're healthier. Living on continuums, not polarities. It feels very healthy to wonder, to wander, to experiment. So while some of us are given who we are at birth, our experience, our identity, and our loyalties we choose throughout life. So just ponder for yourself right now how maybe you're a bisexual person or a transgendered person in a heterosexual crowd. Maybe you're an agnostic or atheist in a God-worshiping crowd. Maybe you're an introvert in an extroverted crowd, a Republican in a Democratic crowd, unvaccinated in a vaccinated crowd, a returning citizen, someone coming out of prison, a person without a home, a community, a safe place to sleep. So how about you? Is there a way that you feel kept out, left out, shut in, judged, or dishonored? What rights, roles do you strive for? When do you want to stand up, speak out, get the respect you deserve? And I'm just going to let us be silent for just a moment or two and reflect on that. And I'm just going to ring my singing bowl for a moment, and we'll sit just for a couple minutes, and then we'll move on. So we're going to move into the second part of our service, which is a little bit more on how we develop trust and being trustable. It's good to know who our silent and active supporters are as and allies are as we're coming out. Trusting is a deep process of looking inward, looking outward, affirming ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and testing the waters. Who can we trust? I find when I'm speaking a new truth to my friends, my family, even my community, I test it by telling a little bit and watching people's faces, behaviors, attitudes. Are they judging me? Are they going to ask me too many questions, which I don't want to answer? Or are they with me? And maybe I'll share a little bit more. If someone shares a secret with me, that shows me their humility, their vulnerability, and it helps me feel the same way. So secret for secret can be a good way, even if it's very small. And then with the right time and conditions, we can come out a little bit more. It always helps to be looked at visually with love and respect for who we are, so that we can become more of who we are. And at this point, I am going to offer an offering. If you want to do it, I invite you. If you don't, you're welcome to not do it. But to find a partner, it might be the person you came with, or it might be somebody else in the congregation. And I'm going to just give you a couple minutes. We're going to do an eye contact exercise and then a little bit of sharing together. So I'll give you a moment. This is an invitation, might feel like a dare, but it's your choice. Find a partner and go sit next to them. And you can decide how close you want to sit. Be comfortable. If you've never been here before, you're going to meet a new person, and I think we're even to get everybody paired. So I'll give you another minute or so. Okay. And also on Zoom, Frank, if you can set people up on pairs, you can do that. So just introduce yourself for a moment. And here's what we're going to try. So a few years ago, I was in a course called Eye Contact, Ethics, and Interbeing. And I'd created this exercise, which we're going to do. So you're going to turn to face your partner. And again, have the distance that feels comfortable for you, not too close, not too far. And it's practicing looking at each other's eyes. And I'm going to invite you, if you want, to take your masks off. You decide as a pair if you're comfortable taking your masks off. Okay? If you are, and both are, then you can see your smile, your eyes, your whole. You decide. So how this is going to work is I'm going to read a line, and then you are going to speak the line simultaneously together to each other. Okay? Is that clear? I speak one line, and then together you say the line to each other. Before we do that, I want you to just think about having soft eyes, like you're looking at somebody that you care about, that you're comfortable with, just softening around the eyes. And how that happens, little curl at the corners of your eyes. We smile with our eyes, little corners of the mouth, soft eyes. Okay, here we go. I see you. I care to see you. I dare to be seen. I am me, you are you, similar and unique. I don't know all I am. Giggling is fine. I don't know all you are. May we help each other see who we might be. I see in you, I see in me, endless possibilities. I see you. And just hold the contact just for a minute. You can touch if you want another way. Just hold that for 30 seconds. And then I'm going to invite you to just share whatever arose in that little exercise. Anything you like for a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. Just another moment or so. Good. And taking a moment just to thank your partner for seeing you, hearing you. And you can stay seated with that new partner, or you can go return to whence you came, either way. Okay. Thank you for trying that. It took a little courage. You did it. You did it. Thank you. I want to leave you with one more image before we move on, as a building yourself as a trusted person. Think of your favorite armchair, your favorite, coziest, comfortable, big old chair. It's got a nice back that you can lean on, a backbone. Give yourself as a backbone for somebody. You have their back. Think of helping them understand in their lives who else has their back: their community, their ancestors, their higher power. Think of the arms as little hills on either side, soft arms of invitation. Nice gentle embrace, not too enclosed, not too wide boundaries, but nice, that's okay. Nice, comfortable embrace. And think of looking forward with the person you're both seeing ahead of you, encouraging all searching, all truth-telling, and expression of truth. So next time you're listening to somebody, just maybe you'll have that image in mind, being in an armchair. They can lean on, they can feel held, not too tightly, and you can both see into endless possibilities. So I will wrap it up. We're almost to candles of joy and sorrow. With all this trusting, coming in, coming out, we need a big container to hold us. That might be God, as we image God, goodness, love, beloved community, might be our ancestors. May we welcome each other. May we befriend each other. May we make room for all of us. Thank you. And at this point, Sandra will lead us in candles of joy and sorrow.
Before you start,
Yes.
let me just introduce it. So now is the time in our service for sharing joys and sorrows. If you have a sorrow that needs our help to carry it, or a joy so great you must share it, now is the time. Annie's going to walk around with the microphone, and there'll be time afterwards for announcements of any activities. So this is just a time for the heart. And also for anyone here for the first time today, we'd love it if you'd introduce yourself so we can say hi. You don't have to, there's no pressure, but we invite you to raise your hand if you're willing to introduce yourself. Okay, so we'll now have sharing. Anyone who has one, raise your hand.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I have two people that I have want to handle for concerns. Both women are coming out of abusive relationships, and both women are moving to new homes and looking for new community and feeling safe where they are. And the other one is our housemate who moved in with us in February from the streets, living in her car, and we're moving in January. And she's still trying to figure out what she's going to do besides going back to living in her car. Anyway, so those are my three people that I need thoughts and prayers for.
Anybody else?
name's Russ, and I have a joy to share. I was up in the fire loft a couple of days ago. I'm on the property committee here, and I was up there looking at the rose window that we're going to be giving some attention to. And there were a couple of cabinets up there that you can't see from where you are that I've walked by many times, but I'd never looked in. And I looked in each of them, and both of them had a lot of old sheet music. And by chance, I pulled out this one, 6 Sacred Quartets for Public Worship and Social Circle by Otto Loeb, that I looked up. He was a composer from Germany. But what really struck me was handwritten on the front, Wendell T. Davis, February 1872. That's 150 years ago. That's 23 years before this building was even open. I thought, oh, Jesus. And then from the bottom cabinet, besides all the sheet music, found this LP album of the show Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat from 1972, exactly 100 years between these two. And I don't know what it means, but it just got me excited. The history of this congregation. And thanks.
Your amazement is a joy, Russ. Does anyone on Zoom have a joy or concern they want to share? No? Okay.
I'd like this. I'm Kate Mason, and taking off on Russ's comments, I'm lighting the candles here, and wax is dripping on the rug, maybe a little bit. And I was thinking, maybe we need a plastic thing or a tray for it so that we don't get wax on the rug. And Jen commented that she kind of likes to see the sort of the tiers of wax. These are the joys and sorrows for the olden days, for ongoing. So there's not a lot of wax on the ground, but it makes me feel better about putting this on the carpet and think about the long companionship that we've had here.
I actually have a joy I'd like you to light, Kate. I was at a gathering this week where it was announced that Greenfield has now purchased the property beside the shelter on Wells Street, the parking lot on the south side of our present shelter, and it is going to be refigured into 35 affordable housing units. And that is just a wonderful thing for Greenfield, and our shelter for the homeless is going to be increased from 30 beds to 40. So Greenfield is showing up, and that is a real joy.
Okay, we got a joy online. I think it's from Sally. Her mother-in-law is living with them and she's getting to know her much better.
Okay, look, Annie, looks like there's one here.
Okay, come on around.
Hi, I'm Alyssa. I'm sharing just a joy of community today. I joined All Souls earlier this year and haven't been able to make it back since today. And it's just been so uplifting and connecting to see familiar faces and some new faces. And I'll just also share a joy that I've made friends recently, and I haven't had good friends in some years now, and it's just so fulfilling, and this community is part of that fulfillment as well. So big joy for that today.
Anybody else? Okay, down back.
Oh, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Abby. It's my first time here. It's good to be here.
Thank you, Abby. Welcome.
I'm going to sneak in Annie here. Let me see a sorrow. My friend Karen Filiati, she lost
And
her.
Annie, there's another one over there, right?
Well, can I just finish and then let them have it? That's okay. So Karen Filiati, she lost her cousin, so she's going back out to see him. But the joy was she got to see him a few weeks ago and wrapped it up. Concern, I have a brother who has really serious arthritis. He's in pain all the time, so I'd like to hold some thoughts for him. Michael, come over here again.
Go ahead, Molly. You're muted. You need to unmute.
Yeah, here we go. I have a joy to share. My daughter Essie has written a novel about a biracial teen, and the novel has been sold to Scribner and Sons and also to a publisher in England.
Nice. Anybody else? Okay.
Well, that's a lot of candles for a small group of people. There's a lot to be grateful for. I wonder if we could close this part by just saying the words of a prayer to friends, since we don't have our piano with us today. But I always like to close this time with that prayer. It's in the first cover of your hymnal, Abby. If you open the hymnal, it's right in the front. Yeah. On us. You have another song at the end after the benediction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To this day, I bring my life, born of hope, born of sand, yearning joy where now there's strife. All I have, all I am. Help me to see what I must see. Help me to be where I must be. Restless faith abide till all are free. Fill my life, turn my hands.
And now for the benediction. These are two quotes from two teachers of mine. From Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop of South Africa. Every human is like all others, like some others, and like no other. And from Yogi Bhajan, so, Sikh guru, if I can't see God in all, I can't see God at all. So may we recognize and respect each other in all our glorious diversity is our greatest strength. Amen and blessed be. And Annie will sing our postlude. Again, welcome and sing along. We'll have announcements.
Let me see, is it on? So a nice little story, that's why I'm sitting on the stool. Fred Small, Anything Possible. I just want to share myself that the first time, 10 times I sang it, 20 times, I don't know how long, I cried because I just couldn't get the words out. So I'm sharing it with you today. We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets his sail to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel the country where your heart leads and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. But the only measures of your worth and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. There are girls that grow up strong and bold. There are boys gentle and kind. Some run far ahead, some stay far behind. Some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some have children, some never do. You can dream all day long, never reaching the end of everything's possible for you. Don't be traumatized by names or bullied or shamed, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friend the best part of yourself, they will give that right back to you. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel the country where your heart leads and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. But the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
If anybody has an announcement, I do. And that is that you are all welcome to come to a potluck at my house this evening. It's really just a matter of getting to know each other a little bit better. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the sermon, the service. And let's see, I think people will feel more comfortable if you do take a COVID test, because masks will be optional. And we'll be eating. So if everybody takes a COVID test before they enter the house, I think that would work. And then we don't have to worry about masks. So it's at 5 o'clock. Let me know. I'll be here. Let me know if you need my address. It's actually in the order of worship, 3 Valley View Drive. And let me know if you're coming. Thanks. Anybody else? Anybody else have an announcement? Okay. Go in peace.
Go in peace or stick around and talk a little bit with us. Be at the back. Yes.
Oh, you're muted again, Molly. Go ahead and unmute. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. 2 announcements. One, next Friday, November 11th, in addition to Armistice Day. I'm just announcing, Joan, because I thought you would want to announce that we're ringing the church bells again in relation to climate action, the need for climate action. So at 11 o'clock, if you want to come and hold a sign about that, that would be great. Next Sunday after church, we're having another meeting of the Social Justice Committee where we're going to be talking about the film festival and feedback people have about how the film festival went. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one last announcement, I just remembered. The Interfaith Council and All Souls are sponsoring a book club on this book. It's called I Never Thought of It That Way. How to Have Fearlessly Curious Conversations in Dangerously Divided Times. It's by Monica Guzman, and it's a wonderful book. I finished reading it, and now I'm going to put together a we're going to have a Zoom meeting on November 30th. The library has some copies. It's a wonderful book, and it's very practical, developing new language, how to get out of old ways of thinking and start fresh so that we can talk to people across any aisle, politics, faith, gender, any issue. But it's very well done. So if you want to consider reading this, I invite you. Thank you.
Okay. So there we go. I'm not Dan, but I'm Frank, and I'm running the stream from time to time. So if you guys want to listen to the song, I can switch it all back over and we can just let it run.
I have a question, Frank.
Okay.
When they ask next time in breakout room, Frank, still there?
Carlin, I thought of that, but it would be hard to do breakout rooms and listen to Betsy with the questions or statements at the same time.
Yeah, I guess because the way the technology works.
Yeah, we wouldn't have heard the statements.
Yeah. When I'm in calls all week long, do that. They handle it by putting the questions in the chat
Oh, yeah.
so that we can copy them and keep them with us in our chat. Sometimes they make it all the way to the chat. Sometimes we have to copy them into the breakout room chat. But if we all get used to it, it isn't that hard.
Oh, I see. That's a good idea. I don't know how to copy chat though.
I mean, usually you can highlight it and
highlight.
press copy, the copy command. The copy command is under view or edit, or you can press Control C.
Oh, okay.
Where you normally copy and paste, whatever commands your computer uses for copy and paste, you would copy the chat into the chat for the breakout room. And sometimes the chat makes it into the breakout room anyway, but it's safe to copy it before you go to the breakout. So if the congregation gets used to doing that, you could have the experience they had locally. I'll talk to Kate and Betsy about it at the hotline.
Okay.
All right, everybody have a good one. I'm gonna pack the shop, and that's it.
Thank you, Frank. Great job.
Adios.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Frank?